All right, everybody. Well, welcome again to another episode of the Sound Booth Podcast. I'm Josh Crespo.
Longbacks.
And today we have Madison Old's music with us in the building. Woo!
Thank you for joining.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you.
It.
Seriously.
I love that
things
intro.
you're
I
doing.
feel like we have a in-studio audience and
Yeah, with
my
the
own
clapping.
peeps
Oh, yeah.
for me, giving me my intro, like my song. Do I bow, I dance? Something.
Well, I mean, we have a TikTok star among us, so
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
300
Where? I don't see anybody.
right in front of us.
Yeah, so for anybody who's
No,
tuning in,
I'm actually glad you brought up TikTok. I just posted a TikTok now. I feel like my whole life is revolved around that. Like that platform has changed the way, artists approach music and people have a chance to make it now. It's so much more accessible. I think it's also given people hope because there's no rhyme or reason to it. So like anything can happen to anybody, and I think it's given a lot of people like a second wind in the industry that we're ready to give up. So I'm like, right now I'm so like, I figured you guys were gonna bring it up, but right now in my life, like everything is about TikTok right now, and I'm like so pro TikTok. My whole life is branded
Right?
with it.
yeah,
Well, I mean, it's working. Like, that's like with me with Twitter. Like, I'm not just going to abandon the platform that's doing well for me. So, keep going. I mean, that's like 365,000 followers.
I think that's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever actually met a TikTok like star. I've always seen him, but never actually got to talk to him. So this is a special
I
treat.
feel like star is such a loose term. Like it's so crazy too because things can change so quickly with TikTok. So
Right.
like 365,000 followers is huge to any other platform, but on TikTok that's nothing. Like that can happen overnight for somebody.
It can.
It's like, I mean, it can and it can't, and I'm so incredibly grateful for every single person that follows. But when people say star, I'm like, no, these are just friends. Like every single person that follows me is somebody who's a part of my life now. They're not fans, they're not
Right,
followers.
yeah.
Like they're genuine people in my life now. So I just look at them as like more and more friends. I don't look at them as like, wow, TikTok star, because to me it's not that.
Okay.
Well,
I
you've
put
been
too much.
consistent.
I'm not like, guys, come on.
Yeah.
It's funny because I think it's similar to the Twitter community.
Yeah.
Like everybody is so supportive, and you don't look at like your followers as fans. You look at them as like genuine peeps that you can call up and be like, hey, you want to do something with me?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think a good place to start with you then would be kind of like, how long have you been at this? Because you have pretty solid numbers over a lot of social media platforms and your Spotify, like monthly listeners and all that. So like, what's your process been like? When did you really start pushing hard for like your full-time music, right? As far as I know, I think we talked last time. Yeah.
Wow.
So tell us a little bit about your story, I guess,
Yeah.
because I'm sure a lot of people want to know, because they follow you. So.
Well, I started a couple years ago. I was in all-girl country trio, actually. We were called Bees and the Bare Bones, and we were like super tipsy one night having pina coladas. I didn't know either of the girls. I was 17, I think, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're gonna be the next Dixie Chicks. Like, this is the coolest thing ever. And then we started like going across Canada. We ended up in Nashville, started songwriting a lot.
Wow.
That's kind of where I learned to play music and like really get into it and sing and songwrite and meet everybody that I know now. And then because the band happened so quickly, there wasn't like enough of an infrastructure, and we didn't really know each other either. So it just fell apart really quickly. And by the time I was about 19, I started to scramble. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to put out some music. I have no identity. Nobody knows who I am. So I did my Blue album. I just wrote as many songs as I possibly could so that people knew who I was. They knew that I wanted to be a musician, that I could songwrite, that I, was willing to work hard at it. And then it kind of opened some amazing doors. It was with some incredibly kind and really talented people as well. It's called Sticky Studios in, Ascot, England. And they did like all of Ed Sheeran's albums. They did some of Shawn Mendes's stuff, like Shania Twain, like really big artists. And they were just like the most humble people, which like, you've got these amazing Grammys on the wall, and they roll up in Minion flip-flops and swimming trunks. And I'm like, this is so awesome. You're setting an incredible pace for me today. But then, I started to get a little bit more into the poppy realm, and things started to get more businessy and more money had to go out. And I think this last year especially, I've kind of found who I am, who I want to be as an artist, what my sound is. And a lot of, like, before that, I was really focused on being polished in the pop world. You know, like, I'm competing against the Ariana Grandes and the Halseys and, like, all these super established artists, and I'm, like, wearing a Raptor sweater and Levi jeans, and I have zero money to pay for any of this. And so through, like, 2020 specifically, I have obviously jumped on TikTok. That's changed a lot of things. People have been listening to my music. I've been releasing new music as well. People are hearing me. It's kind of setting this, like, little path for myself. And I've discovered that people care more about the authenticity. They want to see the side that's actually real. They don't want to look at an artist that's unattainable, because nobody's going to relate to that. I can't look at Ariana Grande and be like, yeah, girl, I know those struggles, because I don't. I don't get them. Like, I can't relate to her just like she can't relate to me, right? Like, we have completely different struggles. And so something that I realize that is within my reach and within my control is just, you know, sharing what's going on in my life. And that's a huge part of why I talk about my relationship, because, you know, that is a little bit not normal. He's in a chair, he broke his back. That's really exciting for people to hear about. I talk about how some days I mess up in radio interviews and I sing completely wrong lyrics and make up the whole song as I'm going through, and then I hang up and I call my mom crying because I'm a failure. You know, like, those days happen, and I think it's really important to talk about it, because when, like, you have a specific check mark by your name or a certain amount of followers, like, you become an influencer. And I think at that point, you're not just, like, influencing what bag to buy, like, you're influencing a lifestyle. And you want to make sure that you're influencing the right type of message to especially younger audiences as well. Like, it's okay to have bad days, and, like, everything's gonna be fine. You just gotta get through this, like, hard stuff. And so this year has really taught me that, just through, like, my personal life and then my music. And, like, last year, numbers meant everything to me. Like, I looked at every single stream, I looked at every single follower, every single monthly listener, and it totally wrecked me. This year, like, doesn't matter if, like, one person listens, like, that's one more person that I didn't have before, and that means the world to me. So I think and maybe that has to do with maturing. I have no idea. Like, I'm just a kid, so I'm gonna mature more as I go, and I can tell you guys if it has to do with that. But I think you know, as I've, like, slowly grown up in the music industry, I've realized the more important things and the things that don't really matter.
Well, that's good.
I went off on, like, such a terrible tangent there.
No, that was good. No. You had a really good, really good mindset around it. So that's really cool. I'm glad it's not, like, affecting you as it could some people. So you have a very level-headed, you know, view on it. So and you're taking that responsibility to make sure you're helping influence other people and
positive messages.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really cool to see.
Yeah.
What first got you into making music?
Yeah. Both my parents, you know, growing up, they played music. My dad studied jazz composition as a kid, and he went to Berkeley in Boston.
Okay.
And then somewhere along the way, they had to give up their dreams because kids happened and bills had to be paid. And as I've said before, it's not a very, like, financially gratifying job. So I think I was 4 when I sang my first concert. It was in a church. I had, like, this beautiful gold dress in front of what felt like thousands of people. I think it was like 75 people, but to a 4-year-old, it's like a stadium.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
And I sang "Where Are You Christmas" by Faith Hill, and I was an absolute superstar. Like, I did the runs, I did the finger, like, it was a dream come true. And then I think after that I realized that I'm such a ham and I sniff out the spotlight. And obviously both my parents had given up their dreams, and they were pretty quick to support me and come on board and be my momager and my dadager and do everything that they could for me along the way. And probably, like, the days that I want to quit now, or, like, feel like I want to give up because it's so hard, I think back to everything that they sacrificed, and that I'm not just doing this for me. Like, I'm absolutely doing it to fulfill their dreams as well. And I still get to play with my dad. He went on tour with me to Asia, and so, like, it's a little way of keeping their dream alive. And getting to do something that I love, and if I'm able to pay my bills and do something that I love, then I'm not really working a day. So
Right.
I don't know, because I'm not sure like the specifics of it, but like the challenge that you're doing on TikTok, does your boyfriend not know?
Yeah, I was curious about that too.
I don't know if we could talk about it because you said he's in the next room.
I hope we're not ruining anything.
You could talk about it. I think like he has TikTok. He doesn't really go on it, but I mean, he's kind of aware of the fact that obviously I'm dancing every day and my phone is blowing up constantly. He's like, "What is that about?" Yeah. And he has a link to the GoFundMe because his family's been, sharing, and obviously my family's been sharing. But I don't think he fully understands the amount of support that he's received through this, and like I'll post something of just me on my TikTok, and people could care less. They're like, "Okay, boo, get off the camera. Where's your boyfriend?"
Yeah,
like that's all we care about. And so, like,
which
I don't think he understands
opposite of how it normally is.
Much.
Yeah. Like if my wife posts a picture of her with our dog, like twice the amount of likes of me and her together. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's usually the opposite way. So that's cool. They're there for that.
It's like, and they want to know what it's like to be in a chair and like his daily struggles. And so I think that's another thing that I've learned about TikTok specifically. I mean Twitter is kind of the same. Like they love to root for the underdog. They love a story that like causes somebody to feel like they're doing something good inside when they support you. And I've totally noticed that about TikTok. They love to support a cause, and people love to rally. Like that community, they're diehard fans. Like when they support you, it's like game over. I'm with you for life. Yeah. We're sticking this through till we see Derek walk again type people. Jeez. And so I think, like he has a concept of kind of what's going on, and like that there's money coming in, and that, he's probably gonna be surprised with some video because, that's just who I am, and he is constantly on edge around me. But I don't think he is like fully aware of just everybody that's rooting for him right now.
Wow.
And did you start that hashtag and the whole challenge thing for that, or was that like a thing that you were like, oh cool, let's try to get some money for him?
There was this dance. It came up in September. A song came up. It's like whole lot of choppers in the air.
Right.
I don't know the words because it's like it's so fast. But I did the dance once, and I was like, the TikTok Creator Fund had come up, and it's like you can now monetize your views like you can on Spotify.
Oh, cool.
But it's like 0.00005 cents per view.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was like, oh, this is me day one of doing this particular dance until TikTok allows me into the Creator Fund and I can make enough money to help my boyfriend walk again.
Okay.
I like blew up. It hit like 3 million views. I was like, okay, what? I've tried everything. I've like bleached my hair. I've done absolutely everything, and I've never got this type of reaction before. So I like for 4 days I did that exact same dance, and like we went back home to see my family. My parents learned it. Nice. We went to a tennis court and did another tennis court. It was just so fun. And then I kind of just like forgot about it. I was like, first of all, I didn't get invited into the Creator Fund, which totally burned. It hurt.
Wow.
But I just kind of like let it go, and then starting, I think, maybe like a week after I started posting videos with Derek, we started to do like little Christmas dances, different things, and people started to really love him. I started to get a following. They're like, wow, this is really unique content. I wrote a song for him. I started posting that. People loved that as well. And then I was like, you know what? Let me try something, see if this works. And so I did day one of doing TikTok dances until I can fundraise enough money. And I had done a video earlier in the summer, just like sharing his story and what we were working towards, and it blew up as well. I think it hit 1.5 million or something like that. Jesus. And then I had put the GoFundMe up then, and we had raised about $4,000 from that video.
That's really good.
And then
from one video,
pardon?
From that one video,
From that one video, but so we've done 20 videos now, and we've raised $43,000, which, it's crazy because one, it takes me a minute and a half to learn the dance and do it and then post it, and that's what 30 minutes of my life to raise $43,000. It's gonna potentially change somebody's life. And so right now the goal is so like through all of this, we've been talking obviously a lot about stem cells. People are reaching out, they're like, what are stem cells? I have no idea what this is. What can it do? I'm in a chair, or my husband's in a chair, or my sister broke her neck last year, and so now like this isn't just about Derek. This is like a huge conversation for people who had no idea that they had this opportunity in front of them that they could potentially chase for their own personal recovery. And that's a huge thing in North America. We don't offer this type of stem cell treatment for people with spinal cord injuries, and it treats other things like Alzheimer's and MS and like different physical disabilities for people. And so I think our goal through all of this is to be like a vocal ambassador for the program, and to like share the word for other people to have, you know, treatments like this. And what's interesting too, in the past, stem cells, which is why it was such a controversial thing, it was from an aborted fetus, which is, you know, really hard when you're so pro-life, or you know, whatever it is that you support. I think it is a hard thing to swallow. But through the last like 15 years, they've found that mothers who have had healthy born babies can donate their umbilical cords after giving birth, and it's the same cells. So now, like, not only are we having A, healthy born babies, B, the doctors are helping to support these mothers who are giving birth to their child, and we're like helping people who need the stem cell treatment for physical disability. So it's kind of like our goal to be more of like a name in the public eye that supports it. So I can't remember what the question was, but again, I just went off.
We were just asking like if you started the whole challenge. It's brought awareness to everything.
Yeah, no, I had no idea. I didn't know they could use the umbilical cord. I think that's really cool. Huh.
So you have all that going on, but I mean, is it fair to say like your Twitter and Instagram were like building before all this kind of happened with TikTok, like just for your music career, I guess?
Oh yeah, so my like 18 I think was when the band really started, and we started to do really well. We opened for Willie Nelson, which was a crazy experience for us. And we had some really awesome people that we got to work with. Obviously, like, my social media was based around my music, and it still is. I think once Christmas rolls around and I get to share some awesome news with Derek, you know, be able to like introduce my music back in, now that I've built these like lifelong friends who want to support me and Derek's life together. But yeah, it's only gotten bigger through like sharing more about my life and doing stuff with Derek on my TikTok, and people feel like they can know a bit more about me, and I think that that's tough too. Like through like Instagram and Twitter, maybe not Twitter. I mean, Twitter's a little bit more open, and you kind of just get to say your random thoughts or whatever's going on in your day, but Instagram only shows like such a polished version of you, and people don't get to see that. And it's really hard to build like lifelong followers and like listeners to your music when all they see is like a super edited photo of you. They don't get to see like your story. They see your salad in your story and your pumpkin spice latte and like your Facetune body in a bikini, but they don't get to see like you dancing to a song that makes you look really uncoordinated in your Christmas pajamas, and they're like, oh, this girl's real. So but I've kind of started to port that over into my Instagram now that I've like built people through my music. I'm starting to be a little bit more real. I'm showing my funnier side, and I think people are, you know, they're receptive to it. They're starting to like it.
Yeah, transparency wins every time, and like, honesty is just real. That's what I've learned for sure. Otherwise, you're just kind of stuck in this like box of like, oh, I need to be like this, or I need to tweet like this, or you know, you're trying to impress, and that just, I don't know. For me, it doesn't work. Like, that's not how I am.
And it gets boring too. Like, there comes a point where every selfie starts to look the same. Like, I even get to the point where I'm like, I have to post something, and I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure I've done this exact photo 100 times. Like, what's the point? I should just post a photo of my socks or something. So,
But yeah, I mean, it's cool to see the growth, and like, you know, obviously like what you're talking about, being real and honest, and being willing to like, you know, talk to a podcast like this and just share. Because I know you're like, oh, I don't feel like I have anything to say. And like, sure you do. Like,
no, I know. We've been talking for like 30 minutes. Yeah, this is perfect.
Yeah, it's cool to like shed light on different stuff.
People, like, my life is, I've got some exciting things, but I'm just like an average person like anybody else, and there's probably so many more exciting people to talk to than, you know, my TikTok dances or my songs that I'm putting out or you know, me and my dog or whatever I choose
But
to
I think
talk about
people
that
like
day.
hearing.
Yeah, no. People want to see
like the story behind it.
Yeah,
not just the streaming numbers. Like
exactly, they want to see like who's creating that, what your mindset is too, because you know some people could have a really selfish mindset or just a very very down to earth, and that's the kind of vibe what we kind of get from you. So
yeah,
that's what people really really appreciate. So I guess say if anybody, you know, for anybody who's tuning in and maybe they thought to start putting their music on TikTok, and you know they're kind of nervous. I feel like that even for me, like I don't even have a TikTok. You know, I just don't understand it. But I guess it'd be good to start using it. What
you
is
can
maybe
put
like
snippets of this on there? Like
yeah,
you know, like this.
yeah. I think this would that's a good idea. So maybe like what's a piece of advice for anybody who's watching who maybe is like, you know, trying to first get into music or like get into TikTok, like maybe what kind of helped you break out of your shell and to like put yourself in front of that camera, because that's, you know, you have to be kind of vulnerable.
Yeah, vulnerable. It's true. It's a good word. It's hard to say.
That's a really
Yeah, that was a big question.
tough thing, because
Sorry.
when I first started music, you know, I mean, even now, there's times where I'll put out something and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not doing as well. People don't like this side of me, or I should have been more reserved. I shouldn't have been so honest. I shouldn't have shared this side. But like through the last little while, I've kind of been a little bit more confident. I've started to say there's enough cookie cutters out there, but there's only one Madison Olds, and she's got a mind of her own, and everybody needs to hear what she has to say, or, you know, whatever. But it's the same for Susie or Brian or whoever it is that's wanting to put out music. And it's the same with TikTok. I mean, you never know what's gonna work, and you never know what's gonna like shine through all the cookie cutouts, all the Kylie Jenners, all the you know, everybody that looks the same. And I think it's really scary to be yourself, but it's way cooler to be who you are than to pretend to be something that you're not.
That's
and
a gem
I
right
think
there.
that does way better than trying to fit something. You know, like you could be this and you're trying to fit into this, but there's this much of you to love. So you might as well just be this. And that's been, you know, TikTok has such a polished side, but there's such a side that it's like, I'll see my For You page and I'm like, what is this? Why does this have 1.5 million likes, and why do I love it? Because it's very weird. But that's just it. Like, it's a side where people get to come on and they get to create, and like everything goes. Nobody's put down. Oh, I mean, you know, bullies happen everywhere, but like everybody's art is valid on TikTok, and I think it's a nice way to ease into creating. You know, people have started putting up covers that way, started, you know, showing their beats, showing their songs, and then you start to build this amazing following, and then you put up your song and you've got 1.5 million followers on TikTok that are already diehard followers that they're going to come over and port you on Spotify or, you know, whatever streaming platform you support. But I think it's just a matter of being like, yeah, I'm different, and so what? That's what makes me so cool. I don't know.
Oh, but it's true. Like, the world has so many, like, Kylie Jenners and, you know, people who have taken this perfect picture, and, like, then there's, like, us. Like, I mean, like, me and Trevor, like, we're just, like, goofy, weird people. We always have been. Like, it's just, you know, of course we're doing interviews and stuff and talking to people, but, like, our personalities and, like, you know, just showing that side of you, like, I don't know, it's just what people are attracted to because it's real and it's honest, and it's just,
I hope so,
yeah. And I think, like, I'm so tired of, like, listening to a top hits playlist, and it's just, like, a rendition of a song that I've already heard. I'm so much more interested in somebody being like, this is a song I didn't want to post because it's about my dead dog, and it's got some really weird, obscure lines. But I'm like, yo, this song, this made me cry. Like, you don't even know how hard this is.
I want to hear it.
Right? This song is, like, everything to me. Why did you wait so long to post this? I'm like... And I think music's coming around to that. Like, Justin Bieber's gotten a lot more honest with his music, calling himself an idiot kid. I'm like, hey, we've all been waiting for that line to come out. But, like, you know, I think we're all going through something right now with 2020. We've all seen sides of ourselves that we probably didn't want to see. And the last thing I want to see is somebody pretending that everything's okay. Because it's totally not. Like, the world feels like it's exploding, and we're all running around with our heads cut off. And I just want to hear a song that's like, yeah, this sucks, and that's okay. Like, we'll all be okay one day.
Yep.
And I think, you know, like that's happening. People are being more honest about how they feel and like who they are and this world. And I think we're getting ballsier too in what we'll speak for and what we'll say and support.
True.
I feel like being stuck inside 2020 has just got us to the point where we're just so sick of it. We're just like, ugh.
Well, and it's like, literally like here, I don't know what it's like up there, but in the Bay Area, as of tonight everything's closing again. So you can't eat out, even outside. Like, probably malls will close, and
I hope so.
It's and it's crazy. It's like, it's kind of like we're back where we were like 6 months ago, but I mean, it is what it is.
How is it up in Canada?
You know what? It's kind of the same. We go through these, like, the numbers will go down, so then people start to live a normal life again, and then obviously more people are out, they're spreading the virus, so then they're like, oh, hold up, everybody needs to go home now. And, you know, we don't have the luxury of it being relatively nice all year round. So we are coming into a cold time. We are going to start getting cabin fever. We're not going to be allowed to see people at Christmas, which is really sad. I think a lot of us are going to go through like really high depression up here in Canada because it's so cold. And obviously like your northern states are probably going to see the same thing because they'll have kind of similar weather. But, you know, it's tough because a lot of like the younger generation, so like 40 and younger, they're like so pro mask, they're so pro staying at home, they're like, yes, let's just get through this. And then, you know, some of the older generations are having a harder time being like, let's wear our masks, let's you know, stay at home. They're like, what's the point, you know, it's the government controlling me or whatever, you know, their thought processes. But if we all just wore our masks, then in 3 weeks we could live a normal life. And it's tough too because like all of us are doing our job, like what we're supposed to be doing, and then I'll see somebody I know on social media and be like, oh, it was a cheap flight to Cancun, so I just went. I'm like, why? You're ruining this for all of us.
We still haven't had our honeymoon. We got married 7 months ago.
Yeah. And like it's like obviously Derek and I are gonna have this money for stem cells, but we're not gonna be able to go anywhere to like we can't go to Colombia and do it. So, you know, it's tough. And obviously in the music industry, I'm sure you guys have seen it, like everything has come to a halt. Like so many people have lost their drive, so many people have had to give up music because they've had to like change their career or move back home or get a full-time job bagging groceries because they just can't survive in 2020. So I think I'm pro like getting this over with and like doing what I have to do to wash my hands, to stay at home, to wear my mask, to not cough beside my dog. Just
right. No,
dang it, Trevor.
You know what I like? Of course nobody's happy to wear a mask all the time and stay at home and like give up these freedoms, but it's like do it for 3 weeks and just get this uncomfortable bit over with, or like prolong this for the next 4 years, because like one sounds a lot crappier than the other.
It's hard like seeing like I know we have one particular mutual friend, he doesn't live in the state anymore, but like just like out all the time, hanging out, partying, like around different people, and I'm like, just stop. Please. Like, I know that like, you know, in different areas it's different, but it's like just for a little bit.
It's here though. Like people are still going out and they've got like hundreds of people with no masks on, like in Vancouver at a car meetup. I'm like, you can literally Facebook Live that and stay at home. Why?
It's like for me,
it
like,
is tough.
Just wear it. Like you're in a restaurant, you're in a store. It's like you just do. Like it's just easier.
And you're just gonna like take it away from somebody else who isn't gonna either have this long to, you know, go through these youthful years, or they've got a compromised immune system. You never know who you're gonna, you know, come in contact with, or who you're gonna get sick. And it's so tough because everybody's really sensitive right now too, and you don't know who you're gonna offend by saying, hey, can you put a mask on? Or like, you know, who's gonna offend you by saying, I'm not gonna wear a mask, and we're all so sensitive and we don't want to hurt each other's feelings, but like there comes a point where it's like, put on your big boy pants and wear your big boy mask. Like
it's like my sister is one of her best friends. It's her birthday next weekend, and we just got like a text that she tested positive for it today. And like she's okay, you know, and she's gonna like get the proper care she needs, but it's just like that sucks.
Your sister?
It's Marissa's friend, Kiki.
Have they been?
No. Kiki lives in Sacramento, but it's just like.
I was like, wait a minute.
No, not here. But
It's
just crazy. Like,
can I get this through the phone?
Yeah, right. Yeah. But it just sucks.
But no,
like you never know.
It is scary, and you've seen people who are healthy that you're like, oh, it's just a flu for them. But sometimes it isn't just a flu, and yeah, I mean, I'm not terrified of the virus, but I don't want to get it because either my boyfriend who has like compromised lungs could get really sick and not make it through, or my parents, or like you never know, and you may be the one that like totally fights it off like just in 2 days and it's a regular flu for you, but for somebody else it could be a lifetime of pain.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just being smart about it, but
respectful. I think like somebody said. I watched this video and she was living in Japan and she said, my whole life I used to get really frustrated when foreigners would come to visit me in Canada or United States and they wouldn't try their hardest to speak my language. But when I come to Japan, nobody expects me to speak Japanese and they always respect the fact that I am trying really hard and they try their best to speak American. And in the last 4 years, everybody's worn a mask on a train, not because they're worried of a pandemic, because it's a sign of respect to somebody else. Like, I may not be sick, but I could be somebody that carries it and gives it to somebody else. And she said she was so astonished by just the amount of respect that she experienced while living in Japan, and that now, during a time where we all need to wear masks, she doesn't see it as like a sign of succumbing to pressure by some other people, but it's a sign of respecting everybody else around her. And I think that that's something we should all remember, that it's not about you, it's about everybody else around you.
That's true.
Very true. Well, I think that's a good note to wrap up on. We appreciate your time, Madison, with us.
Thank you. Sorry if I
no, this was perfect. This
Good
is
conversation.
What we like to do, so. All right, everyone. Well, thank you again for tuning back in. This is, again, the Sound Booth. My name's Lombax.
Josh Crespo.
And today we had the lovely Madison Old. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have all your links right below this video. And other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, guys.
We love to see what's going on with your TikTok challenge. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.